Hello guys, and in this video we are going to learn how to create SNS topics and adding SNS events for our S3 buckets. So basically we haven't covered yet what the SNS topic is, but just for your understanding, SNS it stands for the simple notification service. Basically just it sends you the message to your mobile users or your email, so it can send to you the message. It's basically to send the message services. Okay, so in this video we are going to learn how to create the SNS topics and how to use them into your bucket. Okay, so I have logged in into my AWS console for to complete this activity. You have to log in into your AWS account, and there are two options to find any service in AWS. Whether you can go to as services, and you can look into, they are categorized by their features, their functionalities, like the compute, service, storage, or there are other options. You have the search box here, just type SNS and it's here. All right, so let's open this SNS. So since I haven't created yet, this is the first time I'm logging into my console, and you can see it's not there is no SNS service, any service created yet for me into my account. So I'm just going with topic name. So let's enter my topic name. I can see let's say my SNS notifications. That's my topic name here. Let's go to next step, and my display name would be same. There is no change. I don't want to go with other option, and leave I'm just leaving all other options as default. Okay, so I'm not going to make any changes in encryption level, though you have the encryption level, access policy. You can see only the topic owner, that's the default, or everyone. It's have the different types of the access onto your policy. You have also the HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, so I'm just leaving all as default. I'm not going to change any other settings. So I'm just put my notifications name, and enter create topic button to create your topic. So we will cover in detail what's the SNS, what's the topic is into our next further videos for this AWS class. So just follow the steps to how to create the SNS into and use them with our S3. So here you can see all the details. My topic owner, that's the ID, top display name, and it's the name, that's RUARN, Amazon resource name. That's all the details you have here, and that you can see it. Okay, and based on them, once you create the topic, then what you have to do, you have to create the subscriptions. So for your subscription, let's say go to just click on subscription, and then you will get you will get this page, and here you can see your topic sorry, the SNS topic ARN, and you can use the protocol, which protocol we are going to use. That would be email, because we are going to send the email to us, and enter your email. Let me add my own email at gmail.com. So you have to enter your email in under the endpoint box, and other than this information, you don't need to you don't need to enter any other informations to create the subscription. That's all are enough for you for to create the subscriptions. And then you hit the subscriptions. Its subscription has been created successfully, but its status, let's see, it's, yeah, here you can see the status is pending from confirmation. So let me go to my email ID and confirm this. from my email ID. I'm just opening my email ID and waiting for email to receive, and once I received I will confirm it. Oh, sorry guys, actually I have entered the wrong email ID here. So uh, then that's why I haven't received it yet. So let me just edit it and make some changes into my subscription here. So let's create my new subscription, enter my email ID, vegetable tech hunt at gmail.com, and create subscription now. Now I should receive, yeah, I received the email now on my email ID. I'm going to confirm it, and status would be it will be remove the pending confirmation as soon as I confirm from my email ID. And let me refresh it, and it should be confirmed now. Okay, so that's how you can create. And let's move to our S3 because we are going to use this SNS into our S3 bucket. So go to service and go to storage and hit them to S3 tab, and it's going to open a S3 bucket console for you. And you can see I don't have any bucket yet. So our target is to create a bucket first. So I'm just creating tech hunt 2020, and region is North Virginia, and that's fine. I'm just going to hit next. Though I don't need anything else here, and I'm just, let's just go back. Let me copy it, go to next, and hit next button. And that's fine. I'm just leaving it as block all public access for now because we are going to do applying some access policy on this bucket. And as soon as, all right, so now our bucket has been created and it's not public yet. Okay, that's good. So we have created our bucket, we have created SNS topic. So now let's go to the SNS page once again, and go to topics. And here you can see your topics which we have created earlier. Go to edit, and on edit we have to use the access policy. Here under the access policy we haven't used it during the creation, and now I will use this policy. And I'm just using one policy I do have here already. Okay, let me just, I'm just updating my policy. Just a minute, guys. So, okay, guys. So I have my policy here. Let me just show you. Oh, shit. Okay, now it's here. Sorry. So, what we need to do, that's the policy, and we need to change our ARN here. There's the notification ARN, and I'm going to make some changes. Okay, so now it's changes here. And once you made some change, made the changes, what you need to do in this policy, you just need to change your bucket name here and your topic ARN here, and rest leave as it is. You don't need to make any other changes. And then you need to copy it, and just we are just going to applying, oh sorry, where is it? Yeah, it's here, and we need to apply it here. Just copy and paste, and all set. And what we are going to do, just going to hit this save change button. It's going to save. So topic, my notification saved successfully. Perfect. So now it's we have applied the policies also here. So what gonna happen now? Now your SNS topics, which we have created these topics, it has access to send notification events based on our S3 bucket. Okay, so based on our S3 events, we are going to receive the notification into our email. So now let's go back to S3 and go to S3 and just click our bucket and then on properties. Go to the under the property tab. Here you will find one. Yeah, it's here. That's the event. You can find the event tab here and you need to add the notifications. That's I'm going to add the notifications here and enter your my email notification. Let's say my email uh, event for put, and then select put, and here send to SNS topic, and here SNS you are going to see your SNS notification which we have created just few seconds back. Okay, and once it's configured you need to just enter any name here as for the reference, then enter select this checkbox put and just leave prefix suffix and as blank, and then send to SNS topic. I'm going to send this events to my SNS topic, then then my SNS event SNS topic is going to send an email on my email ID which I have configured into SNS. So hit save. It's going to save now. So now what happened now, S3 buckets has been enabled, the event notifications. It's you can see it here, the checkbox, it's now it's enabled, and for putting the new objects through our SNS topic. Okay, so now it's configured for events. So let's test how it's going to work. I don't have any email into my inbox right now, and let me test it. Okay, so what's gonna happen? Let me show you my email ID because I just want to you can make sure whether I have or not. You can see I don't have any email right now. So okay, I'm just going to upload. So let's upload one picture just for mm, I can say let me upload this file here. I'm just uploading one file which I have took the screenshot of my one of my dossier I have created into my MSTR class, microstrategy class. So I have put one one image file here, and it's going to update me into my email. You can see it here. As soon as I have uploaded, let me show you when it's uploaded it. Okay, and it's success. View details is successfully done. And when it was uploaded, it was 20th August 2020, 6:25 50 p.m. GMT. And let's see when I received the email. So I have received exact same time at 6:25 p.m. as it's uploaded also at 6:25 p.m. And what's the events? It contains the records here. You can see it's AWS region. It's the event source AWS region US East 1 events time. That's the events time. What's the events name? Object created. That's the put. That's mean we have select the puts, and that's the principal ID, request parameter, source IP address, and source elements even, and where it's going, what it's have what's the action it's perform on which services. You can see that the bucket name, that's tech hunt 2020, ownership ID, ARN of tech hunt, and object, that's what happened, what's actually action has been taken, that's the key, that's the dossier.png, that size it has been put into these buckets. Okay, so all the information you can get this SNS topic. So that's very very informative information you can receive through your SNS topic. Thank you guys.